If you've just installed new batteries in your Panasonic Dr60 or Panabox and you're getting something like this where you can't see the letters, the numbers, or symbols, or let's say they're really faint and you can barely see them, or if some of them are missing, I'm going to show you a couple of techniques of how to bring your LCD display back from the dead. In a previous video that I published last year, I showed you how to put a spacer between the glass and the LCD display so that you can put more pressure on the LCD and help bring out those digits. But in this particular situation, what I'm going to do is show you a couple of techniques if your display screen is completely dead. Now, in this particular unit, this display screen is not working at all. I've tried putting the spacer in between the glass and the LCD display and I'm getting nothing. So how do I actually work on the LCD panel itself? I got some good news and some bad news. The good news is we can temporarily bring back some, if not all, of the letters, symbols, and numbers in that LCD panel. But the bad news is it may only be a temporary fix. However, this may benefit you if you're at an investigation and you don't want to buy a new Dr60, you're really happy with yours, but you can't see anything in there. So this technique will give you sort of temporary relief. You can use it while you're at the investigation, but then the next morning when you wake up, you might only see, maybe partial digits within that screen. But at least while you're using it, it'll help out. Or it may actually completely bring back those digits from the dead. So in any event, you're going to end up with an LCD display which is much better than the way it was, even if it's only for a temporary amount of time. Bringing your LCD panel back from the dead is a two-part process. Step one is necessary because it gets those liquid crystal paths regenerated, so things start moving again. Once you do step one, you'll probably see symbols in the display screen that you didn't see before, or if everything was really faint, maybe it becomes darker. Anyway, step one is necessary, but the only downside is that those symbols that you've just brought back will probably tend to fade. Could be over a minute, could be over a day, or who knows, they may remain permanently. But in my experience, everything seems to fade again, but you've got to get those liquid crystal paths regenerated so that step number two works. And step number two is fantastic because it's an instant fix. So if you've done step one and you pull out your Dr60 at an investigation and you can barely see the symbols in there, step number two is very quick and it should get you through the investigation so you can see enough in the display screen in order to know where you're at, how many files you've got. If you're trying to erase something, you'll be able to see that. You'll see what sensitivity. It'll give you a lot more opportunity. So again, this isn't likely a permanent fix, but if you just love your Dr60 and you don't want to go out there and buy a parts unit for a couple of $1,000s just to get a new LCD screen, this will get you through. For step one, you're going to want to get a hairdryer, set it on low heat, turn it on, and hold it maybe 3 or 4 inches away from the LCD panel as you're using your thumb and your forefinger to massage the display panel. I find that if you see little black blobs under your thumb as you're running circles around that front display panel, that's kind of where you want to be. You want to definitely have some pressure on there, but you don't want to press too hard and break the glass, so be very careful. After 5 minutes of heat and massage, you're going to want to reinstall that LCD panel back into the unit. You're going to want to put batteries in and make sure they're alkaline. Turn it over, take a look in the display window, and chances are you're going to see much more than you did before you started step one, which is great. That's the whole point. Now, in my situation, I had a completely blank LCD. I couldn't get anything on it, and now this is what I'm getting. So this is great. If you could barely see any of the digits, they'll probably now be much darker. Or if you were missing symbols and digits, you'll probably start now be able to see them. The only downside is you might see too much. For example, If you've got the hold switch off, you might actually see the hold symbol on the screen, and it shouldn't be, obviously, if the hold switch is off. But my opinion is it's better to see too much than too little. So I believe this definitely is an improvement. Now, if you leave the batteries in and you check the next morning, you're probably going to see some of those digits disappear. Some of them may remain, some of them may be gone. And everything may be fainter than it was the day before when you did this process. But that's why we're going to go to step 2, because step 2 will give you instant darkness and more symbols. And again, it's a bit of a temporary fix, but if you're at an investigation and you need to see things in that window, then this is an instant fix that you can use. And again, if it disappears 5 or 10 minutes, just do it again. It's very quick and it works. Step number 2 is very quick and simple, and it involves the use of a piezoelectric firewire. You can get these on Amazon quite inexpensively. These are the little devices inside a gas barbecue. When you push the button and it sends an electric charge to the gas and it ignites the flame. So this works really nicely when you've done step number 1, you've got those LCD liquid crystal pathways moving again, and you've left your device for, let's say, a day or a week or something, and you're at an investigation, you pull it out and everything's faded. Well, this will instantly bring those symbols back to life. And the nice thing is you don't have to take the display panel out. All you have to do is have the wire touch the glass above the display panel, push the button, and it'll ignite the screen. You'll be able to see things that you didn't see before. And it only takes a second. I will warn you though, you don't want to hold the DR60 while you're doing this or you'll get a little bit of a shock. It's not bad, but you'd probably want to just leave it on a table and have the wire touch the glass and then press the button. Now, sometimes when you do this, it'll light up some symbols, but not all of them. And there may be certain symbols that you need. And if you're not seeing them, just move the wire to a different area of the glass and do it over again. You may have to do it 4 or 5 times before the entire display lights up. But this will get you to where you need to be so you can see the symbols when you need to see them. Now, it may not be a permanent fix, but it'll certainly be there for you when you need to see things. So hopefully these 2 steps will work for you and it'll get you to where you need to be. Thank you very much for watching.